Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Sarah Scoop Show. I'm so excited because we have Shari here, who you will most likely recognize from Temptation Island as the one that made it work, right, Shari?
Yeah, hi everyone. So as you know, I was on Temptation Island season 1. At the end of everything, I ended up getting engaged. So I guess for me, it was a really good experience. I definitely had my pitfalls and emotional breakdowns, but all in all, I would say that I had a really great experience.
And so going back, I know it's been a little while and, you're in a good place, you're engaged, but what was it about the show that drew you into it and what had you interested in going on?
Honestly, I really just thought it was a really good opportunity to just have that experience for me and Javen, because we've both been dating each other since we were 16. And I feel like it was kind of like a cool social experiment. The way that everything was kind of set up was, oh, you guys are going to date other people. At the end of the 30 days, you're going to meet with your partner. So I'm like, okay, cool. This should be a breeze. Cut to the day one. It was not a breeze. I was like, what did I sign up for? I want to go home. I was super emotional. But all in all, I feel like we definitely answered what we needed. I think it's very evident that me and Javen are pretty much meant to be. I feel like that just made our relationship stronger and further proved that for us.
And you and Javen were high school sweethearts, correct?
Yeah, since we were 16.
Yeah. So when you told your family that you were going on the show with Javen, I'm sure they knew him at this point and were like, what were your reaction?
Honestly, I think they were just taken back, but it wasn't too outlandish for me because I feel like I'm always telling my family random things that I'm doing, and they're always just cool. I just march to the beat of my own drum. I guess they always support me in everything that I do, but I know at first they were kind of like, okay, good luck with that. See how it goes.
So you get this casting notice. I'm assuming you just apply, and next thing you know, you're going through the process?
Yeah, so it all happened really quickly, and I know everyone says that, but it honestly did. And I almost thought it was a scam at first because Temptation Island was back in 2001 through 2003, so I'm like, are they really doing a reboot? So at first I kind of told Javen about it. I had a casting recruiter reach out to me on social media, and I showed her pictures of Javen, and she thought that we'd be a great fit. And next thing I know, we were doing our Skype interview, then we were being flown out to LA to do our final round, and it kind of just went really quick, and yeah, now we're here.
And so you're on the show, there's all these other singles around, but you and Javen ultimately realized that you just want to stay with each other. How do you feel like you guys made it through that whole process?
Honestly, I feel like it's just our bond is really strong, and first and foremost, we have such a solid friendship outside of a relationship, and for me, that's something that's really, really important for a long-term partner. And honestly, I just feel like we've grown up together, so we just mesh really well. I mean, I know everyone's seen us kind of bickering at each other, but once again, I feel like that's somewhat normal. I know we were kind of going through some things. We were 25 and life was just different. So now we're in a really good place.
Yeah, and I'm sure that being on the show and what we get to see is a lot of filming, and they cut it down for us to see the most dramatic parts.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, the fight that we did have in episode 1, it was so quiet in between us that I'm surprised that the microphones caught that. So we thought we were being quiet, and it wasn't quiet, and that kind of blew up. And I'm not gonna lie, we were, like I said, we went on the show for a reason. We got our answers that we needed, but that was a very interesting episode for sure. I feel like that wasn't really my true personality. I was kind of just in a high stress situation, and I was just being a little brat.
Well, I'm sure it's kind of hard to watch that back too, knowing
cringe.
Yeah.
But I also laugh at myself because I just try to be easy about it. And I'm like, you know what? I was 25. I was never been on a TV show. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. I was a little freaked out when all the people walked out. I was just like, this is a lot. This is really happening right now.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you kind of about next is you get to this island, you're mic'd up, you're separated from the only person you knew going there. I mean, what was the whole process like in your own words?
Honestly, it was a roller coaster for me. I'm not really like a super sensitive person. I'm very empathetic, but I'm not necessarily sensitive. I don't know if that makes sense. But so for me to have my relationship kind of put on display was really hard for me because I don't really like share those kind of emotions with everyone. So being filmed while crying or things like that, it's just magnified. You know, it's like crying 2.0.
Yeah.
So for me, just the headspace of learning to let go and just like enjoying the process kind of helps me. But it wasn't easy. I honestly feel like mentally I had the hardest time. I mean, me and Casey for sure.
Yeah. So you guys did, I mean, you were really trying to figure out this is like real life. I think that's with
Yeah.
reality TV. We see this and we're like, are they really even together? Like, is
Right.
this just a show? And obviously, this was the real thing. Like, you guys are still together.
Yeah.
You really went through these
Yeah,
ups
we
and
really
downs.
went through the real emotions. And I feel like, you know, people still ask to this day, like, oh, is it real? Is it real? It's like, yes, trust me, I would never in a million years want to cry on camera. That like goes against everything for me, but you know, it's real and you know, you don't realize that you're going to feel those ways until you're actually put in that position and I would say that overall I'm really happy with the way that things turned out and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. So going from there, I'm assuming this really strengthened your relationship.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely developed more like understanding and better communication with each other for
Do
sure.
you feel like you would have gotten there without the show?
No. I feel like we would have been in a really stagnant place and kind of just like, okay, we're still here, we're still here. You know, it was kind of good to just have that experience for both of us. I think that since we got together so young, we've done everything together. So having that time apart was really healthy in the
Yeah,
long run.
and in a relationship like yours, it seems that it would be one of those you just never know until you try, and then you knew
Exactly.
what would
Yeah,
happen.
exactly.
So something else I want to touch on was the friendships that you made from the show.
Hmm.
So you and the other girls are like going through this whole thing together. How do you feel like you guys developed friendships? Assuming you're all still friends.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we're actually planning to go on a after quarantine trip. Yeah, so I feel like for us, like we really, you know, relied on each other at a point, and I feel like we had an accelerated friendship. You know, we had no phones, there was no other way to communicate but actually speak. And I know, like at the time it was 2019, so everybody that was kind of a lot to not have my phone. And then I'm put into this house with these four girls. I'm like, oh my god, are we gonna get along? And then we just couldn't have gotten along any better. Like we genuinely made like long lasting friendships for sure.
What were some of the things that you guys would do when you don't have any phones? You really like you're just hanging out. What kind of things did you do to entertain yourselves?
So we would do like ping pong, charades. We didn't really have a lot of games at our house. Apparently, in the boys' house, they had puzzles, they had pool, they had cards. So we were kind of gypped. So pretty much we talked or we played ping pong or played drinking games, things like that. But I really wish we had a pool table. That would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, they should have given you guys the same, maybe.
Exactly.
How much time did you see Javen during the filming experience?
So the last time that you see us filming, I think it was at the dinner. I want to say it. No, after the dinner, we met up for the next day at brunch, and that was the last time I seen him. So of
Wow.
course my mind was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've been away from my first boyfriend. My first high school boyfriend. I just didn't know what to expect. So I also think that that contributed to me overreacting to certain things and just being sensitive. And, you know, it is what it is. It's my first boyfriend. I mean, I feel like now I'm a lot more mature. And if I went in that situation, I would look at it from a different perspective. But it just seemed like the end of the world to me at
Yeah.
the time.
Well, and I feel like as a viewer, it looks like you guys really don't know what's going on. So
Yeah.
it would only start to make you think
Yeah,
the worst.
exactly. especially, we thought the last day that we were going to see them was dinner, and then we see them at brunch the next day. So I was like, oh, we're going to see them at the bonfire tonight, and we didn't. So
And then,
that was not going down.
so at the bonfire, which hopefully people have watched this show, but at the bonfire, you're getting to see like little snippets of what's happening.
And, I think the worst part about it is the fact that the screen is black, and then it's just whoosh, and then you see your boyfriend and you see him talking to another girl, and it's like automatically I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like the way that looks. And I know people are like, oh, you sign up for this and you sign up for that. But honestly, I think that I was humbled, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is for me. I was wanting to go home after the first week, but I ended up sticking it out.
And did you know like how long it would film and all of that before you got into it?
Yeah, so they said it would be 30 days.
So you're 30 days on an island wondering what your boyfriend's doing. I think it's natural.
Counting down the days. Like, it's so funny too with the other girls. So they would ask me, they'd be like, how many days do we have left? And I'd be like, 21, 14. Like I was like so ready to go home. And I think like the last week I was like, okay, you're in Maui. You're in Maui. That's all you need to worry about.
So I want to hear like about your engagement. Whenever that happened, did you know that was coming?
No, absolutely not. And what was so crazy was that I had production come by and take a ring size, but I thought it was like, for the final dinner thing, I thought they were going to like get us something. They took all of our ring sizes, and I was like, there's no way they would have an engagement on the show. So I literally had no idea. I seen him at the final bonfire, and then they kind of had me waiting off to the side for like a couple hours, and I'm like, dang, now that I see him, now I can't even be around him. So after that, they kind of took me down to this grass path, and then he was sitting there, and I still, for some reason, I didn't get it. I was like, oh, maybe they're just doing like a special on the show. And then he asked me, and I was just so shocked that I couldn't stop laughing. I was so giddy, and it was honestly like a really beautiful surprise. I couldn't expect anything better, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that they took everyone's ring size.
Yeah.
With you being the only couple to end an engagement. So have you guys talked about marriage?
We definitely have. Me and Javen are really practical, though. Like, we're one of those people that we know we got together young. We don't feel the need to pressure each other and say, okay, so now that we're engaged, we need to be married by a certain time, Honestly, we just go with the flow. I personally always said that I wanted to be married at 30. Earlier, it could happen. Like I said, I just go with the flow. So honestly, I'm more concerned about an amazing honeymoon. That's just something that I'm more concerned on. So there's nothing like a date set in stone, but we're pretty open. I mean, we could say we want to get married tomorrow. I mean, now we can't travel outside. So scratch that. After quarantine, we may say we want to get married tomorrow and go to Vegas, or we may have a wedding. You just never know. So it's pretty up in the air.
Will you go
definitely together
to Temptation Island for the honeymoon?
Oh, honestly, I would go to Maui again. I would, yeah, but probably not for my honeymoon. Probably more like Bali or Bali or Bora Bora.
Yeah, well, it's really great that you guys are still together and everything, because I'm sure this is probably something that you get in social media and everything, because there's rumors online that you guys have split.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like, it's so crazy, though, too, because I feel like you kind of can't react on social media to things, and, sometimes we're not the most mature when it comes to like responding on social media and things like that, so people can kind of make their own inferences. And honestly, that was more so like after the show, but we're definitely together. We live together. We've been together forever, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? Because like you mentioned, you had never been on TV on a show like this or anything, and then from it's almost like this overnight, you're living your life, then you do this show, then you're back to life, but online everyone knows who you are and thinks they can critique you. Like, how did you deal with that?
Honestly, for me, I'm such an open book when it comes to just like showing authentically me, but I'm not so open when it comes to certain aspects of my relationship. I feel like for me, it has opened up, the conversation for me and Javen, because we do like to be private and like keep our relationship private. But now that that's not a possibility and you have, a community of people who support you, I feel like that's definitely helped us just open up more. And a lot of people have reached out to us and say like how much we've helped them because their relationship is similar. I know a lot of women reach out to me that have been in like long-term relationships for sure. So, and I know that they like appreciate our transparency. Like I said, once our relationship was on TV, I pretty much knew that nothing is going to be private anymore. And I accepted it.
And so going back, you would make the same choices?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't live life with regrets, probably tweak things a little bit better here and there, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't be where you are if you don't have the same past mistakes, because you wouldn't learn from them at all.
And so for fans of the show that want to go on the show, what advice do you have? Like what kind of like thoughts do they need to have going into this?
Honestly, going into this, you have to really think it through and make sure that you can accept the fact of your partner potentially, breaking up with you.
Yeah.
Being single or going with someone else. And like, that's a really real thing. I've had a few people reach out to me asking me that too. And I'm just very transparent with them. And I say, it's a real human experience, and make sure that you guys talk about everything, talk about your rules, and make sure that you're ready for it.
And so where do you live now? What do you do? Like, how has the show kind of changed your life in your career and just your daily lifestyle?
Yeah, so I actually moved to the LA area, and I feel like on a day-to-day basis, I'm kind of always like creating content and more on social media than I was at first. Before going into the show, I was on social media, but not like that. I feel like now that I have a social media presence, it's almost like a responsibility to keep up with it. I consider it like a part-time job. If you don't post something in a few days, people are like, "Are you okay? Did you and Javen break up?" And it's just like, no, I've just been MIA for 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days. So yeah, it actually opened up other doors for us too. Like, we had a podcast and we took a hiatus because we were moving for the past month. We're actually going to get that started up again. And we're going to also start our YouTube channel. So I feel like for me, it's just changed on me being more in the social media presence than I was before.
Which I'm so glad you said that, because that was one of the biggest rumors I read online, that you guys were not together because you stopped your podcast, and that's what
Oh, yeah. No. So basically, we wrapped the season for season 2 because we were covering every episode. And at the time, we were moving and there was so much going on. Like, we had to make sure everything was pretty much organized before we move. Although we were just moving from the Bay Area, we still had a lot of stuff to move. So we kind of just settled down now, and we have our equipment, and we're probably going to get something started like this week. But we've been really enjoying the time off because we work. And I know people were going to assume that we broke up because we went on a hiatus, but no, just taking a break.
No, that's good. I'm just saying that, yeah, I just had kept reading that and I'm like, I think she's engaged. So
Yeah.
it gets confusing online.
Yeah. It's hard to, and it's so hard because you only give people a little bit of your life and they kind of make assumptions on it. But I mean, it's a given. That's just what happens. I don't get upset about it. I feel like I don't mind clarifying things at all.
Yeah. Something I know a lot of people want to know is, you really seem like you're in great shape. Like, what?
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Fitness tips do you have for people? Because I don't know if that's kind of like your thing, like doing training, or
yeah. I actually used to do personal training. I stopped that because I was just like so crazy busy. But for me, I would say the biggest tip is, resistant bands are your best friends, girls, and weights. Resistant bands, weights, cardio, all that stuff is good. Also, don't get discouraged if you don't see results like day one. One of my rules that I go by is that it takes 2 weeks for you to notice results and 4 weeks for other people to see it. So just always keep that mentality in, and you'll be solid.
And something else, Shari, that I think is so great about you is you have this sort of confidence. And I don't know if
Thank
it's
you.
on this show or what, but I feel like a lot of people having the presence that you have online and on TV look up to you for confidence and just as someone to aspire to be like. So what kind of advice do you have for women that maybe they are in the situation you were in and they're questioning their relationship, but they're afraid to be alone? Like, you knew, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, going on the show, you knew that you would be strong enough even if you had to be alone.
Yeah.
Although it didn't work out for you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So honestly, I wasn't always like super confident, but I feel like, I've just realized like you have to think you're going to be this person forever. So you have to learn to love yourself no matter what, whether you're with a man or single, you have to stand on your own 2 feet. So once you kind of get past that and you accept everything about yourself and learn to love it, I honestly think like the world is literally at your palms. Once you get over other people's opinions, not everybody's going to think you're the best at everything, and that's okay. Who cares? No one is. So stuff like that, and just kind of having like, I hate to say it, like a don't care attitude when it comes to like haters, but also being a sweet person. Like that's one thing that I feel like you should have both of. You should kind of have the unapologetic behavior, but you should also respect other people at the same time. Like I'm not saying just be like so careless about things, but I get people in my comments, sending me hate things, and you think if I read that and actually consumed it, it would affect me, but it doesn't, because you just brush it off.
That was great. That's perfect advice. I think a lot of people can really relate to that. I think it can just really resonate with people in so many different ways, because there is a lot that happens in life, and we see people on TV and no one knows really how they got there, who they are, but they just think you can say whatever they want to people.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the people that you can't listen to. And I feel like, in the world of social media, everybody compares and thinks that there's like one beauty standard, and there's not. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, if you're confident, other people will see it and they will like respond to you well.
So Shari, what can we expect to see from you in the future?
So in the future, you can just expect for me to be myself and hopefully to open up with other ventures. Like I said before, I'm going to start the podcast again, and we're also going to create our YouTube channel. I'm still going to be on Instagram, Twitter, things like that. Honestly, hopefully you just see me thriving and getting better at life, because I'm trying to figure this thing out.
Awesome. And Shari, for people that want to connect with you in a positive way, of course,
right?
where do you like to connect with your followers?
So you can follow me on Instagram at SHAAARRRI, or Twitter at Shari Knows Best. And I also created a TikTok at Shari Knows Best. And that's SHARI Knows Best. It's all one word.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shari. You were so insightful, and we just had a great conversation.
I know, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining me today.
Of course.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.